12, car chases, gold dust, The Undertaker's streak, and an hour-long Iron Man match. Let's get into my thoughts, my opinions, and my rating of WrestleMania 12, 1996. Let's go. I am on my own personal road to WrestleMania. WrestleMania 12 was done today. I watched it on VHS as I have been doing, a little bit of nostalgia factor. Be kind, rewind. On this is missing the two free-for-all matches, so I did not watch those. The Godwins versus the Body Donnas, so that is Skip and Zip. Skip being Chris Candido, so they were accompanied by Sunny, aka Tammy Sitch. I have videos on Tammy Sitch and her current situation over on my channel if you want to get up to date with that boo-boo mess. So this was for the vacated tag team belts at the time. The Body Donnas did end up winning. I do love some Chris Candido, so that's great. And then the next one was actually called a geriatric match. This was the Huckster versus Nacho Man. So a little parody on the Hulk and Macho Man. You know what? I don't know and I don't care. Glad I got to skip it. So the first match on the main card of WrestleMania 12 is a 6-man tag match, which I can be a fan of if they don't get so congested and you kind of don't know what you're looking at. And that's kind of how I felt about this match. There was just so many things going on, but nothing at all. This match was supposed to be a singles match between Vader and Yokozuna, but they decided that that was not going to work. Vader had just joined the company at the Royal Rumble previous to this WrestleMania. Previously to this, Vader did have shoulder surgery and Yokozuna wasn't in his best physical health. So having these two go up against each other on the biggest, grandest stage in pro wrestling at WrestleMania wasn't the best. So they did put in some other people to this match to kind of alleviate some of the stressor of just having a one-on-one. So we had Vader, British Bulldog, and Owen Hart with Jim Cornette on one side. And then on the other side, it was Yokozuna, Ahmed Johnson, and Jake the Snake Roberts. One of, again, Jake the Snake Roberts just being himself. I also do want to add Jake the Snake Roberts in 1996 looks exactly like he does now. If you have been following or watched the WrestleManias, you know Jim Cornette was actually managing Yokozuna. This one, he is on the other team with the new WWF talent, Vader. He's on that side because previous to this WrestleMania, Jim Cornette did hire Yokozuna, and for revenge, if Yokozuna's team won this match at WrestleMania, Yokozuna would get 5 minutes in the ring with Jim Cornette, and ooh, would I have loved to see that. But alas, we do all lose at the end of this match because Vader, Bulldog, and Owen do win in 13 minutes. 6-man tag matches, trio matches, whatever you want to call them, they can be great, but this one, everybody was just getting in the ring, kind of picking up the slack for Yokozuna and Vader, having their own physical restraints at this point in their career. It was what it was. Pretty fun opener, I guess, but it's not a match that I would go back and watch. You could really tell Yokozuna was kind of struggling at this point, and I don't know if I've said this before, but I have been saying it in lives. When I was growing up, Yokozuna was my Hulk Hogan. I loved Yokozuna. Maybe it was his size, his strength. I don't know what it was about that man, but when I was a kid, Yokozuna was that man. As an adult, going back and watching, it's a little bit of a struggle. So from that 6-man, you know, nothing's really happening, but I'm watching something, to the Lot Brawl, which is two of my favorite WWF, WWE superstars, Gold Dust and Rowdy Roddy Piper. Oh my God, this was nuts. Gold Dust had a spray painted old Cadillac. These two men begin fighting into the parking lot, but previously to that, Gold Dust is driving this car, and Roddy Piper comes out with a big, like, fireman hose and starts spraying the car. Dustin Rhodes has gone on to say, like, the pressure from this hose actually stopped or slowed down the car while he was spraying the windshield of this car. So that is just, I don't know if that's from the pressure or how crappy this car was, Probably a little bit of both. Between the fire truck hose, or he was spraying the car, he was spraying Dustin. If this hose is going to slow down the frontward motion of a car, I couldn't even imagine what that would feel like being hit with. Roddy Piper was also smashing the shit out of this car with the bat. He hit the window so hard and the glass broke and he ended up cutting his hand. Roddy Piper was pretty much in control in this parking lot. Roddy Piper also ended up throwing Dustin Rhodes into a dumpster, which Dustin Rhodes has said that this gave him a concussion because he hit the side of it so hard. Previously to this match, Vince McMahon said that he didn't want any blood. Dustin Rhodes said, nay, nay, we are going to get some, and asked Roddy Piper to continuously hit him because he wanted it done the hard way. Roddy Piper did try to do it the hard way, but it didn't work. He just kept hitting him in the head and there was no blood to be found. Throughout all the chaos and the violence and the dumpster and this and that, these two men sustained enough injuries that they had to end up in the hospital. But this cinematic match was actually filmed 2 weeks before the WrestleMania event, which is great because they needed those 2 weeks to kind of recoup. And another thing to note, Roddy Piper was also given a vehicle for this, a white Bronco, the same style, color, and year of the O.J. Simpson car chase, which... interesting choice. All of the brawling in the lot did happen. Goldust did get back in his car. Roddy Piper got into his white Bronco and they did do a car chase.
This footage looks awfully familiar, these shots.
Interesting times in the 90s in pro wrestling. They will go on to get in the ring at this WrestleMania 12 later on, because right now they're on their own car chase, which they do show clips of throughout this WrestleMania until they get back in the ring and somebody eventually actually wins this. To kind of finish that up, later on in the card, when they do get back into the ring, Roddy Piper does win, but not without some shenanigans from Goldust. What else can you expect from Goldust? I love both of these people. They are so entertaining. And do they bring it to me every time? And of course, Marlena is in the corner of Goldust, which I absolutely love. It was one of my favorite things on the card for sure. They were definitely trying to switch it up at this point in WrestleMania. Having things pre-taped, cinematic match. I absolutely enjoyed this top to bottom. We are going into a singles match. This is Stone Cold Steve Austin. So this is his WrestleMania debut. My favorites in my top 3 forever. He will be going against Vega. That being said, Stone Cold Steve Austin, right now, he was with Ted DiBiase. Like I said, I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. He did join the WWF January 1996, so a few months before this WrestleMania. He was the ringmaster, if we do remember. He joined the WWF, WWE as the $1 Million Champion. Ted DiBiase's championship, if you remember that one. If not, you can go watch my other WrestleMania reviews. I'm not going to go over it again. But he did have the $1 Million Championship in tow at this WrestleMania match against Vega. This was a completely forgettable match for me. Stone Cold Steve Austin, aka Ringmaster, aka one of the best, he did end up winning this match. He ended up hitting Vega in the head with the $1 Million Championship. It was about 10 minutes long. I didn't love it. I love Stone Cold. He has such a magnetism about him, so much charisma. We all start off somewhere, and of course he was in ECW and WCW previously to this, but this is a different situation, a different stage, and WrestleMania is the grandest stage of them all, and this was his first ever WrestleMania match, so kudos to him. But this is not something that I would be watching again. To the next match on the card, which I was super excited about because y'all know that I love Sable. This was her WWF debut at WrestleMania. She was coming out with Triple H. At this time, he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Knobby guy, silver spoon in his mouth. Yeah, very different from his DX days, that's for sure. Hunter Hearst Helmsley actually made his debut in May of 1995, and at that time, until the next Royal Rumble, he was actually on an undefeated streak. Fast forward to March 31st, 1996, WrestleMania 12, He will be going up against the Ultimate Warrior. So the Ultimate Warrior actually did leave the WWF in 1992 because he failed a drug test. So his last match was in 1992. But to increase ratings, they did bring the Ultimate Warrior back and having his match at WrestleMania 12. And y'all know I don't really F with this man. I'm kind of with Gunther when he just said that's showmanship, that's not pro wrestling. It is sports entertainment, but I don't love the Ultimate Warrior. Having Triple H give him the pedigree and literally 0.5 seconds later, the Ultimate Warrior jumps up and just starts shaking and, doing the Ultimate Warrior things. So I will add, this match between Triple H and the Ultimate Warrior lasted under 2 minutes long. And because this was the Ultimate Warrior's first match back since 1992, of course they were not going to have him lose. Going to move on to the Undertaker's streak. Here we go. I was pleasantly surprised. Undertaker versus Diesel is not something I thought would hold my attention for too long, but comparatively to the other matches at WrestleMania 12, this will be the 5th match in the Undertaker streak, and this is up against Diesel, aka Big Daddy, aka Big Sexy, aka Kevin Nash. Diesel versus the Undertaker. This is also the Undertaker's longest match in the streak. Each match up to this point has been under 10 minutes long. This one was almost 17. The Undertaker started his streak in 1991. This match was just entertaining. And ding, 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 you are correct. The Undertaker won. Tombstone 1, 2, 3. Out of all of them, this one entertained me the most. I wouldn't say that Diesel is the most creative of wrestlers. He may not have the biggest move set. There's just something about Diesel and Kevin Nash that I just really like him. The main event of this WrestleMania 12, that is Shawn Michaels up against Bret Hart, the 60-man Iron Man match. So whoever gets the most pinfalls in 60 minutes is the winner. The hardest question a pro wrestling fan will get: who is the best well-rounded pro wrestling entertainer? Is that Shawn Michaels? Is that Bret Hart? You guys let me know below. We get to 60 minutes. At that 60-minute mark, Bret Hart has Shawn Michaels in a sharpshooter in the middle of the ring. There was so much tension at that moment. The 60 minutes are up. There is not one pinfall in this 60 minutes. It is a classic match. Now, I will say it is fantastic. 60 minutes, no pinfalls. Again, I'm a 90s baby. I'm living in 2023. Our attention spans are not what they used to be. These are both very stellar wrestlers. They're both in my top 10. I absolutely love them. Parts of this match where, it was getting to be a little bit of a struggle. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Let me know what you think of this match below. The last 10 minutes of this match, there was so much tension. I was holding my breath. Bret Hart having Shawn Michaels into the final seconds in the sharpshooter. Shawn Michaels did not submit. When the time limit was up, Hart took his belt and walked up the ramp. The WWF president at the time, Gorilla Monsoon, said, "Nay, nay. There were no pinfalls, therefore there is no win." So now the match is under sudden death, meaning they had to get back in the ring and somebody had to get a pinfall. At this current time at WrestleMania 12, Bret Hart is the current WWF champion. But in these sudden death rules, HBK, Shawn Michaels, gets in 2 Sweet Chin musics, 1, 2, 3, pinfall, a new WWF champion, Shawn Michaels, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me want to cry a little bit. Love Shawn Michaels, he's in my top 3, but there's just, I'm a Canadian. Patriotism. I can't help myself. It is what it is. This WrestleMania, people either love it or they hate it. This kind of felt like WrestleMania 11 to me. It had all the parts to be great. Some fantastic parts, especially, and if I'm comparing it to WrestleMania 11, this one is slightly better. It didn't hold my attention the way that I wanted it to, unfortunately. There were a lot of moving parts that should have made this more entertaining. There were so many great people on this card. I didn't love it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did not love WrestleMania 12. There were some great shouts in there, some great people, some great talent. But overall, watching an hour match after watching this entire card was a little rough for me. It dragged. My energy's already low. I've already been watching this long show, and then you're going to give me an hour. So if I had to give WrestleMania 12 a rating, I am sorry, y'all, if you love this WrestleMania, but I am giving it a 5.6. 5.6 for WrestleMania 12. What did you guys think of WrestleMania 12? Where does WrestleMania 12 fall on your list of favorite to least favorite WrestleManias? Is it one of your favorites, least favorites? Did you love it? Was it boring? Let me know below, and I will see you again next week for WrestleMania 13.